Yeah. So, uh, let's talk about Mortal Kombat Legacy, the video game. So, how I plan to introduce this concept. What I pretty much want to do is first off, these two movies is um is strictly for the fans. You know what I'm saying? Strictly for the fans who grew up playing these games, starting first with Street Fighter, and then and Mortal Kombat, or whichever one came first. Well, Street Fighter came first, and then Mortal Kombat, and then from there we got introduced to Killer Instinct, and from Killer Instinct we got introduced to Tekken. As an actual game player, the world gave us Marvel versus Capcom, where we was able to have X-Men characters go against DC characters, Superman, things like that. And that was great, and we wanted that. We really did. Um, but they didn't finish going. They didn't do a complete 360 on the circle and complete the desire portions of what we wanted as true fans of this evolutionary form of game playing. So this don't have nothing to do with numbers. Um, but we're not in it to lose it. We're not in it to lose, but we're in it, strictly for the sake of giving the fans what they always wanted of our generational timeline. So, so those who's looking to invest into this vision, I hope you're a true fan of this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's pretty much what it is. So if anything scares you from the past, whatever the case may be, just don't even waste your time. Pretty much. So anyway, what I'm seeing is pretty much doing a Mortal Kombat Legacy game. Okay, so after this, Mortal Kombat 2 has his runway and it rips the runway and all of that. First off, let me first start by saying uh, the franchise of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat is never gonna die. You know what I'm saying? It's just never gonna die. Um, so after Mortal Kombat 2 rips the runway and does what it does, we're gonna introduce Mortal Kombat Legacy, the video game. That's gonna be the first seed we're gonna plant is Mortal Kombat Legacy. So we're gonna combine a multiplayer battle, one versus one battle, and storyline mode as well. We're gonna combine Killer Instinct, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter into one game. That's gonna be the first initial seed. And this game is gonna be strictly um, VIA ownership of download. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna also do a NFT version of the game for true fans. Um, Tekken never got the opportunity to. This dude just had a shirt that a hat that said "Only Dads." Oh snap! Tekken never got the opportunity to expand past its horizon of where it was and where it was heading. It didn't get to follow suit as a Street Fighter and as a Mortal Kombat. And the reason being why Tekken didn't get the opportunity was simply because at the day and age of the evolution of gaming and just societal competition, there was only room for one or two champions. So Tekken wasn't a horrible game. It was a great game. Killer Instinct wasn't a horrible game. It was a great game. But because the paradigm shift of there can only be one and two left no room for three and four. Since the times of then to the times of now, we're more open. Society, the world is more open to the realistic counterpoint that, someone can be number one in another location and be number one in this location, or someone can be number three in this location, but there's a group that say that they're number one. So therefore, I want to do an NFT version to this game. Okay. Of Mortal Kombat Legacy. And then from that point forward, it's going to be no physical production of the game at all, just digital, just digital. And then we're going to take these gaming platforms like 1v1 and things of that nature, and we're going to allow um the these platforms to have, their fighting matches there, and pretty much just use that as a mechanism to actually funnel its true fans, right? Because you have your true fans, who's like, oh snap, yo, Tekken is, yo, you can whoop this Mortal Kombat cats up. Oh word, oh, da, da, da. And we can actually bring back that rivalry. And then when we get towards the movie standpoint, we're going to utilize the platforms that we utilize for uh, game betting. We're going to utilize that to stream out the actual fans of these games, the traditional fans. You know what I'm saying? So these platforms will be able to say things like, "Hey, when was the first time you played Mortal Kombat? When was the first game you played of Tekken? Da da da." And we're gonna use those who answer those questions as the gateway to stream our core fans. So when we produce Mortal Kombat Key, MK Key, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pretty much pre-sale these tickets to Mortal Kombat Key. And the same with pre-selling of Mortal Kombat Legacy. So these two movies is gonna be produced and created before marketing takes effect. It's gonna be produced, created, and monetized before it hit theaters. And then as we pre-sell these tickets, we're gonna allow um I'm really thinking about allowing viewings with the cast, with the original cast, game creators, things of that nature. And we're gonna allow the actual fans to be the first ones ever to see this legacy film movie, which is a series of two movies. But um so by doing that, we're gonna automatically grab our true fans, because there are those that are actually the fans of the fans, the true fans, and they don't necessarily, sometimes they get lost in translation. And we think because someone didn't purchase at this exact time that the audience isn't necessarily there. But it is there, and it's not giving in a way to where the true fans can receive it. So by allowing this process of creating the game Mortal Kombat Legacies, all Killer Instinct characters, all Street Fighter characters, all Mortal Kombat characters, and all Tekken characters, we're now going to draw out our true fans. Okay? Those are what we're going to use to actually sell the initial tickets of the film that is in production and that will be completed. Okay? So then at that point, the true fans is going to get the actual first dibs on watching the film because they're going to carry the weight of the investment that's put in. And then from that point, of course, the true fans is going to get the NFT styled uh, downloads, right? And so that therefore, when the actual film hits theaters, okay, and we push the film on theaters and all of that, this, that, and the third, now we can look at the rest of the world and look at it from a business monetizing standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Which is always going to be a business monetizing standpoint, but we're going to be able to look at it more like a marketing and time dynamic equation, stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to create this game to organically filter out the actual true fans, all of the ones who played these games from beginning and quite possibly to the end. All right. And so when they go to these platforms, these game betting platforms where they can play one another and other people be betting against them and all of that, and they're playing Mortal Kombat Legacy through this, they're going to be able to actually purchase the films um NFT style. And then from that point forward, we're gonna push out the films, and upon their purchase of this NFT style, they're gonna also get invitations to actually viewing the film, behind closed doors, things like that. And then from that point forward, that's when it's gonna be okay. This is when this movie is dropping, no matter the response. This is when this movie is dropping, marketing, advertisement, all of that, the whole shebang. And pretty much that's gonna be it. And to me, that's gonna allow also more legacy games like Tekken to quite possibly, you know, uh, come off with their own thing or own single diverse movie, um, and just open the range of how things are done. So in Mortal Kombat Legacy, it's going to be more of not necessarily it's gonna have its moment where it's like Royal Rumble, towards the end, but it's a lot of characters. So the legacy characters of the game is gonna have legacy storylines within the movie. Okay. But they're still going to have their combat fighting and all of that and killing and all of that. It's going to be a bloodbath movie. However, it's going to have more of a wider scope because it's happening between the outer realm and Earth. And because it's happening between the outer realm and Earth, we can have certain members over here and certain members over here, and this thing is happening. This one side is trying to stop these guys and the other side trying to stop these guys. This side done converted to this side. This guy done converted to this side. And was it going to allow enough spacing for a purely bloodbath movie that would allow for um, giving each character time to express their highlighted key traits of combat that everybody loves. And so it's going to be a lot of killing because Tekken has about 90 characters. So a whole lot of them going to die. Um, it's also breeds room for new characters that can be used to serve. So it's going to be more like a Smoking Aces kind of film as far as storyline goes. Because you have to look at the hierarchy within each hierarchy and realize that everybody ain't team Killer Instinct and everybody ain't team Mortal Kombat. And even in the good and evil paradigm shift, there's still one side that's like, well, I'm not good being under you, and the same thing with the good side, right? It's like, well, why do I gotta listen to you, so it's gonna be a fucking bloodbath of a film that is gonna be a great film for legacy and new fans. And then from that point on, I'm not looking to create um, part 2 or 3 to the legacy saga, but more like, boom, this is a fan base film. You know what I'm saying? This is a fan base film for those of us who grew up enjoying these games, loving these games, and also hating the fact that they disappeared a little bit, or maybe didn't evolve in certain ways. And there's a lot of reasons to why things like that happen. So, Shao Kahn in this film gets overthrown by Quan Chi, but escapes and has to recalibrate himself. Quan Chi more like takes over the second level rankings of evil Mortal Kombat villains that's in the game and characters that's in the game. But he gets a couple of first level characters like Shang Tsung, which basically he basically feeds intel to Quan Chi in order for Quan Chi to take over with Ultra Tech. And he doesn't show himself as the snake that he is until he feels safe to. So you have characters like Cyborg and Spectra, Scepter. They end up being Team Quan Chi. You have characters like Rain, Hydro, and Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is actually Lin Kuei, Sub-Zero's little brother, Bihan's brother, but he actually goes on a path to find his brother because Sub-Zero never came back after he failed to take over Earth and destroy Hanzo's Cole Young. He failed to destroy Cole Young. So Lin Kuei is actually trying to find existence of life from Sub-Zero, thinking that possibly he might have ran away because he failed Lin Kuei. And these three ninjas, Rain, Hydro, and Lin Kuei, which is Sub-Zero, actually um um they're actually on the same side on a search for classical Sub-Zero Bi-Han. Now, Rain in Hydro is actually levels of the Lin Kuei markers, almost like black belt, yellow belt, green belt, brown belt, white belt, right? And so, however, Sub-Zero actually was in um the spectrum of Rain, but he evolves and starts, mastering the ice form Sub-Zero. Okay, and this is when he knows he takes the mantle, but in the storyline he doesn't accomplish this until Sub-Zero, the traditional Sub-Zero, dies. So when Bi-Han dies, while he's actually elsewhere fighting for his life with the tactics of a Rain and a Hydro coalition, right? Not these two characters beside him, but this is his power force. He he unintentionally releases an actual frost blast, and he doesn't know how he did it, but it's like a state of being that has overcome him, like he reached this power level. But he reached this because Sub-Zero had died, so he is the next one up. And so he basically um um he basically taps into this higher level and becomes Sub-Zero. And he has this mystical feeling for his brother, that he's going on a search for his brother, but he don't realize that his brother is in him. The essence of of the Lin Kuei is in him, and he's taking it as a sign to find his brother, and he's going on a search for Bi-Han with Rain and Hydro, which are his understudies. You know what I'm saying? Um, Almost like Shaolin brothers kind of thing. And so what happens is, while he's doing this, he goes to Earth, and this is when he gets overshadowed with the reality of what's going on. But he doesn't find out what happened to Bi-Han until he runs across Cole Young. Well, Cole Young is actually dead. Wait a minute. Until he runs across um what's his name, Hanzo. And upon him running across Hanzo and dueling with Hanzo is when he finds out, you know, what happened. He gets closer. So Noob Saibot, which is actually Bi-Han, is on the hunt for Hanzo, and he actually gets to see his little brother fighting Hanzo. And he's watching this from the shadows, and he's trying to let him know that he is the enemy. So Hanzo doesn't just outright tell him what's going on, but he starts to figure out, because all these other characters come into play, and it becomes a bloodbath of depicted Sub-Zero and Scorpion fighting side by side. So Lin Kuei and Hanzo fight side by side. And while this happens, because he gets separated from his pack, Hydro and what's that dude name? Hydro and Rain. He gets separated from Hydro and Rain, and he's fighting side by side after fighting Hanzo, Scorpion. And as this happens, this is when Shang Tsung converts Rain and Hydro. So when Noob Saibot finally gets able to deal with Lin Kuei, Sub-Zero, his little brother, and they actually have this battle, combat to combat battle, and then which leads to a dialogue of understanding between one another, is when Sub-Zero looks at Bi-Han like he's a traitor because he has became something else, even though he has in his own way evolved into a newer form. So in the Lin Kuei dynasty, ice is the highest form, right? So he's looking at Bi-Han as if you're not of I don't know what you are, I don't know who you are, but you failed, you a loser, I won't fail, and and this, that, and the third. So Sub-Zero, Lin Kuei, and Hanzo have to end up fighting Noob Saibot as well. So it's just gonna be a damn killing spree on top of killing spree. Through Hanzo seeing the bond that Noob Saibot has for the love that he has for Lin Kuei, he notices when they're fighting that the attacks that he could use to kill Lin Kuei, he lets him make it. You know what I'm saying? It's like he fight, and has an opening, and he retracts. He goes for the attack, but when he gets close for the kill shot, he retracts, which gives off the illusion like Sub-Zero is actually dodging it, right? So in Sub-Zero mind, he thinks he's dodging it, but in reality, Noob Saibot is letting him make it. And so for once in the traditional Sub-Zero mind, he's understanding compassion and love, which he didn't get a chance to develop because he was so mission driven. And in honor of the emblem, right? That Sub-Zero, the traditional Sub-Zero, didn't get a chance to develop love. So it was easy for him to slaughter what's his name, entire family. What was that dude? Hanzo. It was easy for him to come in and slaughter Hanzo's family because he wasn't in a state of acknowledging that he had a family of his own. You know what I'm saying? He was just pretty much an assassin, you know, who didn't really take the time, or was developed under a compassionate grounding. You know what I'm saying? Grounds. So when he begins to fight Scorpion and Lin Kuei at the same time, and they're really working him, but he's like, and he knows that the weakest link is Sub-Zero. All he has to do is cancel Sub-Zero's contract in order to have a greater chance of defeating Scorpion. And instead of doing so, when he gets close to doing it, he begins to retract. So it's not like an obvious retraction. It's like a going for a stab, but just slowly, adjusting the wrist and just moving with a flow that's sync that allows the opponent to recognize but also move. But he was already too late. But he just, you feel what I'm saying? And Scorpion catches this like, oh shit, like, you feel what I'm saying? And so as they fight, Scorpion goes it back into the fight, right? But he's doing the same thing that Sub-Zero is doing. He's doing the same thing that, I gotta stop saying Sub-Zero, that Noob Saibot is doing. And on a conscious level, it brings a powerful message to Noob Saibot. Like, oh, now you understand. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, I can kill you right now, but I'm letting you make it though. But I'm making it seem like you really putting up a fight. But little bro, I can kill you right now, but I'm letting you make it. And so Sub-Zero, Scorpion sits there and he starts doing the same thing. And as Bihan starts realizing this, he now can direct his attention on his little brother, because his little brother's going full steam ahead. But at the same time, like, just play this little game. He's playing this little game with Scorpion. He knows Scorpion is not in full attack mode, and he's really BSing and letting him make it, which allows for Scorpion to cause uh uh um pretty much a diversion of fire in the environment, to where it's like all of us can die, and he actually gets to grab Sub-Zero, like, come on, we gotta go, you know what I'm saying, and actually flee from the scene because everything is coming down around him. And then at this point, Bihan gets to have more of an empathetic character, and he gets to be like, yo, like, he was a monster, you know what I'm saying? And he really didn't know that until an accidental encounter happened to where he was something else, and he was in the heat of the moment of actually, I mean, what do you do, right? Think about this. What do you do when you pledge an oath to something that you thought was so important and is so much of you, but really it's just really just a mantle of something you will never be? And you waste your whole life under this umbrella of trash, essentially, right? Because it's an inanimate object, and if you no longer represent it and everybody else is under you, you know, and you go against it, then essentially it's nothing. Spot is valuable as a sheet of paper. It's just what you make it. You know what I'm saying? And then he gets that moment where he gets to see like, oh snap, you know, like damn, like, oh man, like, and now he gets to look at what he did. He gets to actually see what he did to Scorpion. He gets to actually realize what he put him through. You know what I'm saying? Because when he had the opportunity to do it, he had the opportunity to stab his own heart, he retracted. You know, so it's gonna be a purely bloodbath film with great storyline, but it's gonna be a bloodbath film. That's gonna be one of the coldest scenes in the movie because it's gonna really like emotionally be like, oh snap, like this little dude really think he stand a chance, and he really think he putting up a fight, but Behan is really just like he moving pieces behind his back, like making it seem like he good as what he really is, but really he's not though. You know what I'm saying? He's really not there, but he just kind of like, you know what I mean, allowing him to escape near death experiences. You know, simply because he been in that seat. You know, he when he sees Sub Zero, Lin Kuei, he sees himself willing to die for something that don't even have a pulse. You're taking orders from people who can't even beat you. You know what I mean? You know, so it's just like it's like, you know, it just you're following just I don't know. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's like he's following this path of predecessors whose logic, science, and understanding doesn't cross over to today's time. So it's gonna be a bloodbath film.